Hey, it's Carl, and welcome back to D3 Direct. Today, we are talking about the truth about D3 scholarships. This goes well beyond the basics. And you've probably heard by now that D3 schools do not offer athletic scholarships. We get into what they actually offer in this video and provide a couple of examples and show you how you can find more clarity about how to get reduced tuition at the schools on your list. So let's get started. This is what we're looking at here is a newsletter that we wrote 2 weeks ago. Uh, again, just covering the truth here. D3 schools cannot give athletic scholarships, but you don't have to pay full price. So what does that mean? I think one of the big reasons we wrote this in the first place is because so many kids, at least in what we've seen, feel it's necessary to go to other levels of college athletics with athletic scholarships. So it could be NAIA, D1, or D2 because they think that's their only path to affordability for school. That is definitely not the case. And it's becoming more and more well known nowadays. But we've definitely seen, in the time we've been doing this, so many kids go through the D3 route and end up getting a lower price for college, what we call effective tuition rate. So it's not just the number that you're getting off tuition, it's actually the effective remaining rate that you have to pay. That's really the focus. We want that to be as low as possible for kids. Um, so here we go. Let's get into it. So at D3s, all of these forms of aid are not tied to your athletic performance. A lot of people want that. They want to say, I'm a D1 athlete, I'm a scholarship athlete. But in many ways, that's a disadvantage because if a school is giving you money for athletics, the second you get hurt, the second they want to recruit someone else over you, the second that money is not yours anymore. At D3s, all of these forms again are tied to your performance in the classroom, your performance, off the court or field, something you're doing in the community, and it is yours as long as you meet the grade requirements, as long as you meet the eligibility requirements, which again, not tied to your physical health. In our opinion, that is a benefit, a major advantage of D3 financial aid and scholarships. So the first form here, academic scholarship, also known as merit aid. A lot of athletes get this. I think the NCAA cites a stat, it's going to be below. It's around 80% of D3 athletes receive some form of aid. This comes from getting good grades, uh, often referred to again as merit aid. So to find the standards needed, because all D3 schools are going to be slightly different. For schools that are on your list of colleges that you are either getting recruited by or you want to check out, we always start by searching for school name, merit aid, or academic scholarship. So in the course of writing this post, we found a great layout from Central College out in Iowa on their website. So this was the screenshot we took. Very clear. Academic scholarships. Not only do they give you $1,000 for being admitted, they show you what the total costs are here, 33,994, and that looks like a lot. But here, as we go down a little further, they break it down. So they say, all right, if you have a 4.0 cumulative GPA from high school, you're automatically getting $8,000 off, and then slightly um, less dollars for each successive GPA band. So when we say it pays to get good grades, this is what we mean. It actually, the better your GPA is, the better the amount of money a school can offer you once you get in. So this was an example from Central College. We talked to parents of a Washington and Lee student athlete last night about the cost of tuition. So just out of curiosity, we went and checked out their page. And they have a lot of different things that we can check out. So first of all, we'll start with the scholarships page on their website. They give a full ride to 44 first-year students. Guarantee some of those are athletes. But then they also have, let's see, partnerships with organizations like QuestBridge, which offers full rides, the Bonner Network, which is all about community service. They offer full rides. And then in addition to a number of other small grants. So let's see this. All right, we'll get into that. They also have here, commitments to based on your family's total income. We wrote a post about this a couple weeks ago. So WNL, if your family makes under 150K per year, you're going to get a minimum grant equal to full tuition. So you'll have zero tuition dollars. And then here are the stats: 63% of first year class receives some form of aid. Average aid is $71,000. So that's pretty substantial. And I think the tuition there is 90. So you're paying 20 to 25 a year at the end of the day. So not nothing, but definitely a lot less than the sticker price. Let's see if we can find scholarships. So other forms of aid here, additional scholarships. This is what we want. So this is just one example. A lot of schools do this. You don't have to be from the state. Washington Lee is in Lexington, Virginia, but you don't have to be from Virginia to get aid. They have all these regional awards for people from different areas of the country. So if you're from Dallas, Texas, for whatever reason, alumni from WNL in Dallas, Texas want to give full rides to kids from Dallas. So it feels random, but that's something to just be aware of. Same thing here for New Orleans. They'll give money for different backgrounds and interests. So we have Leadership and Service, the Bonner program, which I mentioned earlier, which is a separate application that actually a lot of D3 schools have. They have one for Jewish faith here, as long as you have a 3.3 GPA, ROTC. So again, all these ways to cut down on your cost of tuition. They have net price calculators, lots of things you can check out there. That's just one example. Central is another one. So how do you get this money, right? One, we already talked about having good grades is extremely important. But, you as an athlete have something that most applicants going through the college admissions process do not have, and that's an advocate in the form of D3 coaches who are recruiting you. So the truth about this is the D3 coaches, because nothing can be tied to athletics, they can't say, hey, give my recruit a certain amount of money. But what they can do is establish you as a priority applicant with the admissions department. So the way they do that is a process called pre-reads, which means they are giving you an advance notice. This has already happened for the class of 2026, but they're giving you an advanced look. So it's like an early application review by the admissions department to give the coach an idea, thumbs up, thumbs down, whether or not you're going to get in. And a lot of schools during this process will give you some idea of what your expected, payment will be if FAFSA is in. If not, you're going to have to wait till the actual admissions process. But beyond the pre-read, think of them as a guide in your process. You can ask them different questions, ways that other players who have come before you have reduced the overall tuition, things like work study, different grants to apply for, programs for people from different parts of the country, as we saw with WNL. And then again, here's the NCAA statistic. Over 80% of students who play a D3 sport get some form of aid. And again, many athletes pay far less than the sticker prices. So just keep it in mind. Your coach might not be able to find something for you or might not be able to help you, but you do have this advocate that not many people have. So at least ask them the questions. They'll have experience with, their school's specific process, and again, whether or not previous athletes have found ways to make tuition a little cheaper. So continuing down, need-based aid. We've talked about this one a lot, but we have more resources if people need them. FAFSA, it's open October 1st every single year. There's also the CSS profile, which many D3 private schools use. And all of these are just trying to figure out what your family can pay for college, and that will establish the price of tuition. As we just saw with WNL, a lot of schools have net price calculators on their website. And again, don't be afraid to ask the coach who's recruiting you how financial aid works at their school, so you can go in really knowledgeable to the process. Finally, just in summary, a D3 offer might not come with an athletic scholarship label, but that doesn't mean that you don't get money off of the actual tuition rate. So just remember that. And also remember that when it comes to D1 and D2 athletes, only 57% of D1 athletes receive athletics aid and 62% of D2 athletes. So just because you made it to that level doesn't mean you're actually getting significant dollars off of tuition. So we made this video just so you don't rule D3 out purely from a financial standpoint. If you have a specific school you're looking at and you can't find resources, feel free to reach out, put it in the comments, and we will find some for you or reach out to a coach and see if they can help. And yeah, otherwise, good luck in your process and thanks for watching. Let us know what topic you want us to cover next. Thanks.